Hey, this is Notser, and this is the user replay of the week. Saiki is in the Tier 7 Japanese destroyer, Hatsuharu. Saiki is on the map Fault Line, and it's been a while since we've seen this ship on the channel. Figured why not share it? It's a very entertaining game. But before we get into the game, if you have a replay that you would like to submit to the channel, please send it to notserreplay@gmail.com. Please have the replay file, in-score screenshots, and a 1 to 2 sentence summary of exactly what's going on in the game. Please title it with the ship, it really helps out. Games are not the only thing you can share. You can also share a exciting moment, torpedo kills, ram kills, just massively unexpected moments in the game. My only request is that you add a timestamp for when it will occur. I am not going to review an entire replay. I have over 100 submissions per week now. I really need you to help me out. I would love to make a compilation of all the amazing moments, and that video will probably be made just before 0.5.3 launches. I really appreciate all the support, all the submissions. It means a lot to me that you would take the time to send them in. I try and look at every single one. If yours didn't make it this week, perhaps it will make next week's. On to the replay. Saiki, in the western side of the map, has pushed up nearly to the enemy base. This is pretty bold, considering not a lot of enemies have been seen. Enemy Fusso, and 2 enemies on the eastern flank, but that's not really relevant to Saiki. Enemy Alba is scouted. Ooh, another battleship is also scouted. Oh no, he's spotted. Enemy Minikaze heading over to the western side of the map. Not really a valid torpedo target. Now the Hatsuharu, for those who don't remember, only has 2 gun turrets. With a slow rate of fire, it's not really a viable platform other than the torpedo systems. Now you can use the guns, but they definitely are lacking in this ship configuration. He pops his smoke, wants to avoid contact, don't blame him, hasn't fired, hasn't sent torpedoes yet, not a valid target. He scouted again. That enemy Fusso has now moved forward a little bit, 4.5 kilometers. He might have an opportunity to send his torpedoes. I don't know if the Fusso's looking at him. I expect that he is. The Fusso's trying to move off, though. He definitely understands the threat that is posed to his ship. Not really a good torpedo target. Enemy Nagato is moving on the eastern side of the map with a couple more ships, a Colorado, a Minikaze, and 2 more ships in a gap. While the western side, there's about 4 or 5 ships. He's going right down the center of the map. He's probably going to be scouted. Yep, he's scouted by the aircraft. That's a battleship aircraft, most likely. The only cruiser that could use it is a Murmansk, and they don't have one, so it is a battleship. Just a quick check. Enemies are under fire. Enemy Nagato is pretty out in the open. For some reason, the replay is not showing that he's the primary target. I know it is because you could see the cursor kind of hover over him for half a second. He set it with X. He sent out his torpedoes against the Nagato. We'll see how successful they are. Now, I think, is this the ship, along with the Fubuki, that will be getting the special consumable in 0.5.3, where you can half the torpedo reload? If it is, I don't know if I would do it. For instance, in this particular battle, he would have given up that smoke pod, and he might have been under fire, unable to retreat. Instead, he was able to retreat, send out his torpedoes against the Nagato, and follow him in. This Nagato, no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 torpedoes on the Nagato. You honestly couldn't do a worser job of avoiding torpedoes. 100 to 0. Fantastic job, Saiki. It's very rare that you run into a battleship that's that unaware of his surroundings. They had to know that there was a destroyer in the vicinity. He was scouted by this Fusso, who's turned back and is now at the point. The classic passive battleship play. I don't want to risk my ship. I don't want to go anywhere that could potentially hurt my vessel. Well, guess what? You cannot do that. You have to play the game. Now his torpedoes are back up, and the Fusso appears to be headed south. I wonder what he's doing. maybe he's just going to turn back east or west and have full broadside. We don't really know at this point. The enemies on the eastern flank, pretty much wiped out. Western flank, they're in the process of fighting. But this Fusso would be a juicy target. Remember, destroyers, they love isolated battleships. Good luck fighting off a destroyer by yourself. You have to be very skilled, you have to outthink the enemy destroyer, and you have to have a little bit of luck to take them out. They're so small, it's just really hard for a battleship to train their guns, fire, and reload in time to have another follow-up. Enemy destroyer is in between Saiki and his allies, and he's scouted because of, I think the destroyer actually discovered him. He would not be scouted until 2 kilometers within the Fusso, so it had to have been the visual contact, and this Fusso fires, misses. The only chance the battleship has is to get really close within the activation of the torpedoes, but he doesn't get there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 torpedoes, barely alive. Fusso has to put out his flood. Is he going to do it? No. Saiki is able to take him out. Nice. That Minikaze is still scouting him. He's actually following him through this little gap. Now, of course, he's capturing the point, but, I mean, he's not really going to capture the point. And just look at these guns. I had forgotten how bad the Japanese guns are. 2 turrets. Look at this Minikaze just wiggling. He gets 1 shell on him, 347 damage, sets him on fire. And there's an enemy right on his flank. He comes to nearly a complete stop, and the Minikaze misses. He just assumed he would continue forward, but it didn't work out. Saiki was able to come to a complete stop, avoid the torpedoes sent by the Minikaze, and the Minikaze is waiting on a cooldown. But he is trapped, sandwiched between 2 Minikazes. This is not good. He doesn't really have the gun systems to take them both on, like a US destroyer. He really needs to get these torpedoes in action. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. The Minikaze lost his engine. He used damage control. He's using widespread. It's point blank. Only need 1 torpedo to take out a destroyer. They don't have any health. And he sent him out, and it looks like, oh, the Minikaze overcorrected. He slammed into it. He's flooding. Is he going to die? He doesn't have damage control, remember? Yes, he takes him out. Devastating strike. He is trying to avoid torpedoes. Come on. You got to turn a little bit. Ooh, get the butt. Okay, we're good. Wasn't even close. Saiki had it. And he drops off the detection. There's nobody that can spot him. The enemy Minikaze that is in that smoke somewhere must leave the safety of the smoke to gain intel for his team. Now, a friendly Minikaze is coming up right behind him. We know he's still on the point because the point has not changed in its capture. And Saiki's going to go back in. He thinks he can take him on. Well, I don't know about that. He's pretty low. But if he sandwiches him with the Minikaze, they should be able to take him out. And he's going in slow. Oh, he's detected the Minikaze. This is going to be close. Unloads his front, and he's able to take out the propulsion. He's got to get real close. He can't take torpedoes. Get right on top of him. Okay, now they can't drop. They're just like, hey, how you doing? They can't do anything to each other, and he's trying to get it back. Torpedoes are almost up. But he has the advantage on turning. Remember, his propulsion isn't knocked out. The Minikaze is trying desperately to get his torpedoes in a position to launch. And Saiki gets him out. We can expect torpedoes from the Minikaze. Another shot on his bow. And it looks like he's gonna die to a torpedo. Yeah, another kill. Good job, Saiki. Enemy Alba is trying to take out Saiki, but as long as he stays neutral, he should be able to avoid this. The Alba's barely alive, and he dies to his allies. Whew. Good teamwork there. He needed that bad. So he's got a 40-second cooldown on his torpedo systems. We have a enemy Colorado, enemy Milko, and there's some enemy over on the eastern flank. Don't know what he's doing. There's an aircraft overhead that I'm sure Saiki would love to die. Notice he turned his AA back on to take it out. I would recommend you selecting it with your cursor. There is a modifier for damage done to the target, even when there's nothing else there. I think it's like 15% or 30%. It's something like that. It's one of those hidden stats that, why would this exist in the game? Exactly. Why would it exist in the game? Okay, now that the aircraft's gone, he's completely dropped off the radar. The friendly destroyer unfortunately dies. He sends out a widespread on the enemy cruiser. And he can't risk being spotted again. He doesn't have smoke or speed. He probably will die if the enemy gets a chance to fire. Now, the friendly Farragut is under fire, but he has not sustained any damage right now. Oh, until now. Wow, he did a lot of damage. Only 1,000 hit points left on the Farragut. Come on, live, buddy! Here come the torpedoes. The Yoko was probably preoccupied. The best time to send them is when they might be using their guns, and he doesn't even know. One is all he needs. He's flooding. He's also on fire, and he dies to the fire. All right, cool. Just the enemy Colorado. The friendly over by their base was able to take out the enemy ship. It was a battleship. If I said it was a cruiser, it's a battleship that was trying to assault, and it's a full health Colorado. So he can use his torpedoes again. Now, the Colorado is slow, I would say, is a fair assessment of the ship. It does have pretty good maneuverability, and he has probably 1.5 kilometers to work with before he sends them. He chooses to send them right now. I understand that. Probably not going to be successful because the Colorado's under constant fire. Whenever you're the last ship, whenever I'm the last ship, I'm just doing everything I can to last as long as possible. Now, the timer is not a valid end condition. The game will end when the Colorado is killed. We know this for a fact. There are far too many friends on his team up for the Colorado to survive. It's just who's gonna get the kill. And this Hatsuharu has been doing a great job. I can't believe the enemy allowed him to move so close at the beginning. Nobody really reacted until that Fusso died, and then everyone converged on their base. But he was scouted really early on. It's just amazing how some people play. They really do make the game a whole lot harder than it needs to be. If those cruisers would have just moved to counter, they probably would have been able to take this guy out. They would have lost the Fusso. The Fusso just bad play, bad decision. You don't go in a gap that tiny when there's a threat of a destroyer close by. And Saiki fires his guns, but they do absolutely nothing. The torpedoes didn't hit. The Colorado's on fire, and he fires again, and he gets to wait for the gun cooldown. He lands 347. Where have I seen that? That was the damage he did to the Minikaze at the very beginning after taking the Fusso out. So, Saiki gets 4 kills, 13 torpedo hits, high caliber, 3 devastating strikes. Well done. Saiki earned 2,543 base XP, almost as much as the entire enemy team put together. Just a huge carry. Saiki did around 137,000 points of damage between all sources. Just awesome. Now, some of those were inept players he killed, but others were skilled and required very specific technique to avoid death. Like the Minikaze, Saiki had to be very, very close to the ship to avoid the activation range for the torpedoes. Once they got away, he had the advantage because his propulsion wasn't knocked out. Thank you, Saiki, for sharing this Hatsuharu game with me and the channel. It's a pleasure seeing this ship in such capable hands. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone appreciates the game as much as I did. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.